All right, so thank you so much, Oscar, for coming on the podcast because I actually faced you in Silph and you're an amazing player, and then you also just finished first with a sweep in your regionals.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I've never done one of these, so it's a pretty cool opportunity to be here and kind of share my thoughts and, help people out there that will watch this.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I also know that you're pretty, decent. You're pretty regular on Twitch as well. So we're gonna make sure to link in your Twitch account so people can also check you out. And then what I wanted to talk about is that really, how did you prepare for your regionals? Because I know, first of all, you made it in there, which is already just alone pretty awesome. But I figured I've talked to so many people, and so many people say that they are prepping for regionals, and that's why they can't do like so many things, or they're not playing in Go Battle League because they're busy with the regionals. So I just wanted to ask that, what goes through your mind, and let's say like in a daily routine, or that so you prepare for the actual tournament.
All right, so that's a great question. How I prep for regionals. The first thing I did was look at PvPoke, hop on there, check out the rankings of the different Pokemon, and kind of get a feel for what people might be using. And then I see mainly what I like to use, because I feel like the more comfortable you are with the Pokemon, the better you can perform with it. So I look at that a few days. I don't try to build a team yet. I just kind of, see what I would like to use. I usually wait a few days for content creators to put out their videos, either on Twitch or YouTube, because they really do form the meta or shape it in some form. We see it today with GBL. Someone puts out a video, Caleb Pang, you see counters to the team, or you see the team run. So, I think waiting and being patient before building your team is a great tool to utilize. And then as far as prep goes, I build a team and I choose a line of 3, maybe 4 that I really love to use. Like for Voyager Cup, the regionals meta, I liked Melmetal as a lead because if you can commit 2 shields, which I did a lot, you can win a lot of matchups that you don't think you would win. My favorite one was the Zumro matchup. So then I led Melmetal, had Hypno in the back as a safe switch, against the fighters. Hypno's tanky enough, and then Azu. It's a great team. So practice with that line and learn it, and then choose like 2 anti-meta picks that would, not anti-meta, but anti my line, and see what I can do to kind of sway people away from not bringing counters, if that makes sense. And that's my main thing. I just stay on PvPoke. I don't even battle, like practice too much, maybe like 20 practice battles each month for the meta after I have my team set, and then we just roll with it. A great strategy that I'd like to use is my first round or first battle with an opponent. I just choose the 3 tankiest Pokemon I have and learn their playstyle, learn their moveset. And, especially when Pokemon like Hypno or where they have varied movesets, what you bring can be swayed on what they have on their Hypno, for example. So the first game, I probably lose about 90% of the first battles in every round. And I'm okay with it because, we take that knowledge and take it into the next 2 battles, and it's just worked out so far. So that's my little secret, I guess, or little strat when going into Silph battles. And as far as prep goes, it's just learning the matchups.
That makes a lot of sense because I think we once we were up against each other like long time ago. I think it was in what was it, like maybe 2 months ago. But anyways, I win the first matchup against you, but now that you mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, I won because you wanted to see and then you won, of course, the rest of it, both of them without any issues whatsoever. So that makes perfect sense. And then what I also want to touch base is what you said about the prep and what the content creators like Caleb put out there makes a lot of sense, because the meta just shaped completely, even in Go Battle League in the past 3 days, because he put out that video that already has like 40,000 views, and then everybody's now changed up and they created counters to that team. So it completely changed everything. And then same thing in Silph Arena. So I really like what you say. So it's either you go in very first at the very first tournament, so nobody have shaped the meta yet, or you just wait and see, what it becomes, and then you practice. So now, what I wanted to ask you too, so so you mentioned that you bring your, let's say, 3 tankiest Pokemon to kind of like, so not your main lineup, but like you throw something at them, and then you basically build your lineup based on that, right? That's what you were basically saying? Yeah. And then, so then when you practice, you basically practice with like, let's say you have like your favorite team as like a favorite 3, or you practice with like the whole 6 that you have as a team?
So when I start off, what I do is pick the 3 or 4 that I want to practice with and build the line. And every practice battle that I do will just be the same 3. So we'll do show 6. You know, some opponents like to do, you know, show 6 for practice. I just choose 3, the same 3 until it just keeps getting destroyed. You know, the opponent's eventually like, all right, this guy's going to keep using the same thing. I want to bring this line. And that really helps me find out the weaknesses to that line and like where I absolutely cannot make a comeback. You know, no matter what I do, this line's going to lose to this specific 3 or 4 Pokemon. And then that's when I choose my other 2, you know, 1 or 2 strong counters that would sway people away from using, you know, my counters. So.
And then for IVs, so let's talk about the IVs a little bit. So when you have a specific tournament, like, or the Continentals or any tournaments that we have, or even the next one for Silph, so how much IVs matter in Silph Arena? Like, is it a lot or?
So it's a great question and a very hard one to answer, but also simple, you know, because the IVs don't matter until they do, is what I like to say. Because it's very true, you know, a lot of metas, you know, the rank 1 and the rank 4,000 are going to perform exactly the same. But then you have one where, you know, the rank 1 performs worse than, you know, the rank 3,000 or whatever, because, you know, you need the attack stat. So I think it's really, I wouldn't worry too much about IVs unless you've already mastered, you know, the basics, you know, the mechanics, the typings, everything else, because IVs are probably the last thing to come into play. But I definitely think they do matter. And learning, you know, utilizing PB Poke to find out what matchups get flipped with your, you know, let's say you have 3 Umbreons and, you know, they all have different IVs, put them all in PB Poke and see which matchups get flipped and if they matter to you. You know, if for some reason you lose to a, you know, Bulbasaur for some reason, let's say, you know, with 1, does that matchup really matter? Or, you know what I mean? Would you rather have the Altaria matchup or the Bulbasaur matchup? You know what I mean? So I think PB Poke is definitely, you know, the bread and butter of forming your team and finding out what you should power up, because Stardust, you know, it goes away quick. So.
And it's a really great point what you said, because with Hypno, for example, the Hypno matchup, or lots of Pokemons that when you like have the, or Toxicroak, I guess Toxicroak is a good example, because there could be, the meta could be Toxicroak and everybody brings a Toxicroak. So you might be better off bringing a Toxicroak with an IV that beats the number 1 Toxicroak. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So, and then since you mentioned Stardust, do you have any secrets, or Stardust is one of those things that just out the window in your case as well?
So my secret is don't spend it. So when I started PvP, I didn't have any friends to battle with. So, which sounds kind of sad, but it was kind of nice at the time because I didn't have to spend Stardust, you know, to test Pokemon out. I watched Hero Veins, you know, or just lived on PB Poke and just ran Sims, and it saved me a lot of Stardust, even though I don't have much. So I think the one tip I have, I'm not really a grinder. I don't really go outside every day to catch Pokemon. So I think it's just resource management with your Stardust and not powering it up, you know, powering things up every time you want to try it. You know, look into it, see, you know, if you're comfortable with it before buying a second move, see if you even need it, or see, you know, Skarmory is a great example. It's what, 75k, I think. And, you know, 99% of the time you're just running Sky Attack. So there's a lot of things that you can look into before investing your dust, because like I said, it's a hard thing to keep up with, especially if you're doing Silph and GBL. So I think just not spending it is the best tip, unless you have to.
No, that's a great point. And it's funny thing you said that, because I did a podcast with FP Sticks, and until then, my Stardust was very low, like maybe 100,000, 200,000 any given time. And he basically mentioned that his low is like 2 million. And I was like,
oh.
what? And then I drilled him a little bit what he meant by that and how he saves and all that kind of stuff, and then it made sense. And what you just said is basically what he said too. It's just don't spend it on stupid things, just like real life. Don't spend it, your money
Yep.
on things that you don't need.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
same thing here. And then since I've been doing that, now my new low is also 2 to 3 million. So I'm like, all right. But coming back to that, so with Silph, because every month is basically kind of like a different meta. So, but at least it's in the Great League, so you don't have to spend as much as it would be Ultra
Exactly.
or Max. And then I want to ask you, so with Go Battle League, do you just try to stay away from Go Battle League and focus on Silph for one of those reasons with the Stardust, or just not as fun?
I think it's a mix of both when it comes to GBL for me. When I do stream, I like to do viewer battles, but I also do GBL because that's what people want to see and people can learn. To me, it's just not as fun doing the blind battles. When it first came out, I did enjoy it a little bit more because you get to learn a new skill, which is trying to figure out what your opponent might have in the back. And Silph, you don't really have to worry about it too much because you already know there's 6, you know what I mean? So I think GBL really helped me with that and learning that new skill. But as far as playing it every day, I just don't want to invest the time, to be honest, of playing 5-6 sets every day. So I think it's great Stardust rewards, doing the sets every day, and it's great to learn battling mechanics, especially for newer players that are just getting into GBL. It's a great place to learn the basics of typings and mechanics. So I wouldn't sway people away from playing GBL. It's just something I don't enjoy, and Silph is just another aspect of the mind games. It makes it so much more fun for me. The way you even type your 6 into the Silph website, a specific order, littlest things like that can sway a match and you don't even realize it. So I think that kind of like chess aspect of Silph makes it really fun for me. And also the changing metas, every month it's a different thing versus GBL. There's a little bit of difference, but for the most part stays the same, But I think it's a great thing for people to do if that's what they want to invest in and spend their time with.
That's by the way a really good point, because when I enter my team also, I try to make sure that I kind of like mix them up so they don't think that this is my lineup as I order. And well, I asked this question by the way, to everyone, and this question was just like, right now it's probably the answer almost everybody thinks is no, but hopefully it will happen. But just because of all the lags and the issues that Pokemon has right now. But the question that I usually have: do you think that eventually Pokemon Go will go into esports?
I love this question. I love hearing people's thoughts on it because I'll just say my thoughts. I think that we were almost there with the mega tournaments, the mega towers, the battle towers, I think. I went to the LA Mega Cup and man, that thing was a blast. We had, 300-400 people in there. We had 1,000 people at one point watching, Taco stream. I think we were on the cusp, and I think the battle towers itself ended up implementing. We saw hundreds of people interested, and there's cash prizes. The only thing we're missing was maybe sponsorships, for players. But I think we were at the cusp, if not even at the esport level. Minus the headache of sponsorships from these big companies and specific rules. Silph is a real grassroots community, and they love the community. I mean, we just saw it when they postponed the NA Continentals because of all the bugs that we're seeing now. So I think we're already an esport, and I really miss the pre-GBL PvP because all these bugs did not exist. And it was just, I don't know, I felt like we were right there, to be honest, at the esport level. But I think Niantic is trying, and we see that, every update, it seems to get worse, but we should see the light of it and see that they're actually putting the effort to fix it, and taking GBL down, trying to fix the bugs, testing it out, still buggy, but they're putting in the effort. And you talk to people that have been playing the game for years, like raids have been broken for apparently years, since it came out. And Niantic, you don't really see them, you don't see them saying we're going to stop raids to try to fix it, but GBL, I think they're trying, and I think eventually, once the game becomes stable and it'll never be perfect, but just stable enough to play. Or maybe if they figure out like a LAN system, like where it's local, so internet and lag isn't going to be a thing. I think we'll be up there, but I think it's going to take some time for sure.
Yeah, that's your answer was really on point and amazing on this, because everything you said, and the rating too. And there's way more people who are just rating and not Go Battle League, not using Go Battle League, and way less people doing Go Battle League compared to that. And just like you said, Niantic didn't shut down rating or fixed it as much as they jumped on Go Battle League. And yeah, when I didn't start playing until like last September or something like that, and that's when I got introduced to basically Silph Arena. Well, a few months after that. But the reason I'm bringing this up, because I saw one video when it was basically the finals with Poke AK and King in the invitation only, something right at the convention in DC. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, they are thinking about esports. That right away, it clicked into my mind, thinking that that's why they're doing this. But anyways, I'm really happy what you said, because everything that you said is what I'm thinking, and it makes perfect sense. So I really hope it's going to happen pretty soon.
I think so, yeah.
And then what I was going to ask you is, what would be like, let's say, a number one recommendation that you would want to say to either someone who never done PvP before, how he could get more, let's say, friendly with PvPing or just start battling, or someone who maybe knows some PvP but getting into Silph? Either or, like, what would be like number one recommendation just to get better or more comfortable with PvP?
I think to get more comfortable, you just have to do it, right? It's easy to say, oh, I might not be as good, or it might, I don't know this, or I don't know that, or I don't know what to do. There's great resources, Twitch, YouTube, even on Twitter, content creators are always putting out good information. So I think it's just hopping in and just trying it. There's, especially now with the friendship level down, you can join Discords and give it a try, see if you enjoy it. And I think the friendships you'll build, even if you don't enjoy PvP too much, the friendships you build in the community will definitely make you want to stay. It's one of the better, probably the best community that I've been a part of. And even if PvP wasn't the most fun like it is now, to be honest, you want to stay because of the friendships, the battling, the banter. It's a great place to be in, and I think just hopping in and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time that COVID happened for Niantic, because of it, the game just boosted, everybody start playing. But at the same time, it's bad for everyone in the world, and also for Silph, because Silph, just like you said, the battle towers were cancelled, and all the in-person interaction dropped down. However, I'm just really hoping when finally we can get back to normal, then people will be even more proactive about Silph and about the events, the sponsorship, and everything you mentioned. So I really hope that's gonna be next. And speaking of that, what is next for you? Like, what you're looking at in Pokemon Go, where you want to go with PvP, with your content creation, or anything like that? What's in the near future?
Yeah, so my goals for this season were to make regionals, because we weren't playing long enough last season to make it. So we were able to meet our goals this season. So my future goals as far as content creation goes is just to continue to make friends. When I'm on Twitch, I just love interacting with people and seeing who comes in, and you build your own little community, and it's awesome. As far as big picture goes with Pogo, this is like 99% of the reason I still play Pogo is just for PvP. So I would like to remain, a competitive player, and hope to see it grow, as a game, maybe esports in the future, or just continue with Silph and remain competitive and start teaching people, maybe. I don't know. I think just the community involvement is the best part for me, and that's why I would like to stay, in it for the long haul. But yeah, as far as goals go, it's just keep making friends and keep getting better and learn what I can.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And I'm sure you're going on your way, and I'm sure lots of people are watching this now going to look out and look you up, which reminds me, where can people find you right now?
So I spend a lot of time on Twitter, is Oscarlicious, YT. And on Twitch, it's just Oscarlicious. We start streaming early in the morning just because that's when I get off of work. But you can always DM me on Twitter, very active on there. And yeah, those are the main spots I'll be at.
Perfect. We'll make sure to link it in. And guys, if you're watching or listening, it's down in the comment sections. I will make sure to link it in so you guys can check out Oscar. And then also, what I want to ask you lastly is that what do you think about the Mega Evolutions for PvP? Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. It's going to really depend on Niantic's implementation of it. But I think even like, you know, we saw with the Best Buddy thing, they kind of flopped a little bit, but it did help PvP. And, you know, we see Sableye, Medicham, and then especially Masters League, you know, we see those breakpoints. So I think the Mega Evolutions, if implemented correctly, will be an awesome thing. First of all, to see, you know, we're going to get to see a lot of cool Mega Evolutions in the game. But I think the variation it will add to PvP could be impactful enough to where it kind of brings that life back. You know, that's a new thing in PvP, and it'll be cool to see.
So do you think it would like reshape the meta if the Mega Evolutions come out?
I think the biggest reshaping we'll see, like I said, it's going to depend on their implementation, but I can only imagine it'll be in Master League, you know, with the cap. Mega Evolutions are going to make Pokemon stronger. So I think Masters League can get revitalized with new, you know, Mega Charizard, you know, the Mega starters can maybe start competing a little bit better in Masters League. So I think it will shape the meta a little bit up there, but it'll be interesting to see if it affects, you know, Great League and Ultra League.
Yeah, and the Masters League definitely needs reshaping, and obviously Niantic realized that. That's why they created a Premier Cup for this season. So that's another additional plus we should add to that they really care about, you know, Go Battle League, because they keep listening.
Exactly.
So is there anything else you want to say to the audience before we wrap this up? Because I know you're busy and also for the next Silph.
I think the only thing I would say is just to keep trying, keep improving, and always reach out to your friends, make sure they're good, and if you need help, reach out to me or reach out to your community, and just stay safe out there.